Today, we're diving into an idea that is, frankly, a game changer. It could completely reshape how you think about your work, your time, really, your whole life. It's called Essentialism, and it's all about the disciplined pursuit of less.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those days, or maybe it's been a whole week or even a month, where you just feel stretched in a million directions? You are constantly moving, you're answering emails, you're in meetings, but when you finally get to the end of the day, you kind of look back and think, what did I actually do today that mattered? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. You see, that feeling has a name. Author Greg McKeown calls it the non-essentialist trap. It's the state of being where we're basically majoring in minor activities. Our energy is just scattered everywhere, and our real impact is minimal. And it is a trap that so many of us fall into without even noticing.
Now, the author, Greg McKeown, he learned this lesson in the toughest way possible. The day after his daughter was born, he felt this intense pressure to go to a client meeting. And so he went. And you know what happened at that meeting? Absolutely nothing. It was a total waste. But the lesson he took away from it was profound, and it really is the heart of this entire idea. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will.
And this points to a really dangerous irony, doesn't it? We work so hard to be successful, but success itself can become our biggest enemy. McKeown calls this the paradox of success, where the very things we achieve start to pull us away from the focus that made us successful to begin with.
Let's break down how this happens. It all starts with step 1, you have real clarity of purpose. You know what you're doing, and that focus brings you success. Then comes step 2, success gives you a reputation as the go-to person. Suddenly you've got way more options and opportunities coming your way. Which leads to step 3, your efforts get diffused. You're spread thinner and thinner across all these new things. And finally, you land at step 4, where all that scattered effort completely undermines the clarity that got you there in the first place. It's a vicious cycle.
So this really shows the two paths in front of us. On one side, you have the non-essentialist. Their motto is to be all things to all people. Their mindset is, I have to do it all. And what's the result? A life that honestly doesn't really satisfy. But then you have the essentialist. Their motto is simple, less but better. They operate from a mindset of choice. I choose to, and they focus only on the few things that really matter. The results? A life that truly has meaning and impact.
Okay, so how do we get out of the trap? Well, we learn to walk the path of the essentialist. And listen, this isn't about little productivity hacks or time management tricks. It is a fundamentally different way of thinking about everything.
You know, this whole philosophy is perfectly captured by the legendary designer Dieter Rams. His guiding principle was weniger aber besser, which is German for less but better. His entire job was to cut through all the noise and clutter to find the absolute essence of a design. And that is exactly what an essentialist does with their life.
Just picture your energy as a finite resource, right? The non-essentialist takes that energy and spreads it out over countless different tasks and commitments. You end up making just a millimeter of progress in a million different directions, but you never gain any real momentum anywhere. It is the perfect definition of being busy but not productive.
But the essentialist, they do the complete opposite. They take all of that same energy and they channel it, like a laser, into only the vital few things that matter. And by doing that, they create this incredible forward momentum. That's the difference between just spinning your wheels and actually making a real contribution.
Now, to make this shift, we have to replace 3 really common, deeply ingrained false assumptions with 3 core truths. These truths are the foundation for the entire essentialist mindset, and honestly, they are totally liberating.
The first truth is all about recognizing the power of your own choice. A non-essentialist feels trapped. They think, I have to do this. But an essentialist knows that even when the options seem limited, our power to choose how we respond can never be taken away. We are not helpless. We can always choose.
Okay, the second truth is about discernment. The non-essentialist basically thinks everything is important, which means nothing is. The essentialist knows that most things are just noise. You've heard of the 80-20 rule, right? Well, it applies here. Roughly 20% of what we do produces 80% of our results. The real work is having the wisdom to figure out what that vital few is. And finally, the third truth, the reality of trade-offs. We live in this culture that screams at us, you can have it all, you can do it all. But the truth is, you can't. Every single time you say yes to something, you are implicitly saying no to a bunch of other things. An essentialist stops asking, how can I do both? And starts asking a much harder but more honest question. Which problem do I want to solve?
So getting the philosophy is the first step. But how do we actually do this? Well, essentialism isn't just a state of mind. It's a systematic process you can actually use in your everyday life. The absolute best way to think about this is like cleaning out a super messy closet. If you don't have a system, what happens? It just gets more and more cluttered over time with stuff you never even wear. Our lives are exactly the same. They get filled up with all these commitments we've said yes to. Essentialism is the system for clearing out all that clutter.
And that system is a pretty simple 3-step loop. First, you explore. You look at all the options and you figure out what is truly essential, the vital few. Second, you eliminate everything else. This takes courage because you're even cutting out some good opportunities. And finally, you execute. You build systems to make doing the essential things as smooth and frictionless as possible.
And this brings us to what's really at stake here. This is not just about getting to inbox zero or having a tidier calendar. This is about consciously designing a life that truly matters. Your one essential life.
The poet, Mary Oliver, asks this just beautiful and profound question. It forces us to face the fact that our time and our energy are finite. Are we spending our one wild and precious life on the things that are truly essential to us, or are we spending it on what everyone else expects from us?
So ultimately, this means we have to reject this cultural myth that being busy somehow means you're important. Let's stop celebrating that. Instead, let's celebrate the time we have to listen, to think, to be present with the people who matter most. It's time to redefine success not by how much we're doing, but by how much we contribute to the right things.
So I'll leave you with this challenge, a direct question for you. What is one good but non-essential activity that you will say no to today so you can make room for something truly great? The power to choose is yours.